Well, hello, it's Troy Francis, and you join me here in the beautiful Mexico City. And what I want to talk about now is what is the greatest impediment to you having a great dating life or a great social life? What is the greatest impediment to you being successful with the opposite sex and having the kind of dating life or relationship life that you've always dreamt of? Well, the greatest impediment to that is fundamentally the way that you view yourself, okay? It's the way that you think of yourself. Now, that may sound a little bit woolly, or you may not know what I'm talking about, so let me explain. Your mindset, and your mindset in particular in regard to you and who you are and what you represent, is absolutely crucial in the arena of intergender dynamics. And the fact of the matter is that most guys who struggle with this stuff have a very, very, very bad self-image, okay? There are very few guys who are wandering around thinking, I'm a boss, I'm absolutely smashing it in life, I am great, I'm an amazing prospect that any woman would be fortunate to meet. There are very few guys who are wandering around thinking that, who are also doing very badly in the dating arena, okay? Because the majority of guys who come to content like this or who need help with this kind of stuff are pretty self-effacing, often self-deprecating, and sometimes even self-debasing, okay? Fundamentally, they do not regard themselves as being the hero of their own journey. That concept is either alien to them or they just don't think that they make the grade, okay? And as I've said many, many, many times before, you have to be the hero in your own damn journey, which is why, apart from anything else, you shouldn't be hero worshipping some buffoon on social media or whatever, or some sportsman or even some rock star or film star, okay, who isn't you, or some politician, okay? Yes, you can admire people, yes, you can admire other men, and you can study them, and you can look at what they did and the traits that they have, and you can emulate some of those for yourself, but you should not be hero worshipping other people, okay? Because you are the hero of your journey, all right? And if you're not, then you have to become the hero of your journey, and pretty damn quickly. Now, does becoming the hero of your own journey suddenly mean that you're going to be knocked down by a stampede of beautiful models seeking to spend intimate time with you? No, of course not. You've got to do the work as well, all right? We don't get any respite from this stuff, gentlemen. We are men, and that means we have to do what is necessary, okay? So we have to work on all aspects of ourselves. As we always say, you've got to work on your self-image, you've got to work on your grooming, you've got to work on your fitness, your money. Do you have an interesting lifestyle? Are you a bit of a boring chode? Okay, all of those kinds of things you've got to be working on, the whole time. But you also have to regard yourself as being the man. And perhaps, we're seeing various big things blowing up in the media at the moment with various different people who are at the center of global adulation, okay? And perhaps this is part of the problem. Maybe. I'm thinking aloud here. Maybe this is part of the problem, because we've got a generation of young men who are, I don't know if they're encouraged to, but they have found themselves idolizing other people who they've never met before and putting those people on a pedestal to the detriment of themselves, okay? And to the detriment of thinking, actually, no, I am the man. I am the guy. I'm the important one here. I'm the hero here, not some other bloke who I've never met and who doesn't care about me, who lives in a different country, okay? So put the hero worship down for a start, but also just think about how you view yourself, okay? I say all of this because this is very much how it was for me. I vacillated rapidly between being incredibly self-effacing. I mean, not even low self-esteem. We're talking about self-hatred. I hated myself. I despised myself. I wanted to not exist anymore. I hated myself so much. But the flip side to that, and maybe I'm speaking personally for myself, or people with my particular set of traits, whatever they are. But the flip side of that is actually self-adulation, okay? There was this kind of arrogance underlying even my self-hatred that was very poignant and very piquant, okay? And it was quite easy for me actually to flip the card. And I've talked about this in the past a lot, but what basically happened was I had no social life, no dating life really, right up until pretty much the age of 20. I went to university when I was 18. I was there for a couple of years. I was drinking a lot. I was not socializing. I was, you know, just nothing was happening really on those fronts. And my partying increased. I started to do all kinds of crazy substances and had all these kinds of crazy experiences and things like that. And suddenly something just flipped in my mind. And suddenly I just thought, do you know what? Sod it, to hell with all of this. I am going to attempt a thought experiment. And the thought experiment is going to be, I'm just going to act as if I am the man, okay? I'm just going to act as if I am the hero of my story, okay, when I go out. And I don't really care very much what happens. All right, I don't care really very much how people react to that, okay? People may react well, people may react badly. I don't really mind. I'm just going to go and do it anyway, okay? I just made that decision. That's what I was going to do. So I started to go out and I started to dress differently. You know, before I've been I hadn't really paid a lot of attention to how I dressed, because I thought dressing in a cool way or dressing in a way that would draw attention to you was only for the cool people, only for the cool kids, okay? I thought I can't do that because I'm not one of the cool kids. So I never paid much attention to that. I started to dress differently. I started to dress in a more outrageous way. I started to wear things that I just thought were cool. You know, I was wearing army pants, I had a pink mohair jumper, I had spiky bleach blonde hair, I had crazy different shirts and things like this. I started to just wear stuff because I wanted to wear it. I mean, I wouldn't wear any of it now, don't get me wrong, but at the time it was a statement. I was being a punky, I was being rebellious, I was sort of going against the grain. And I'd always been very self-effacing and very sort of polite, or very quiet anyway, generally, but if I did talk, I was very self-effacing and very agreeable and everything in conversation. Overnight, I stopped doing that. I started to be much more confrontational. I started to say it how it was to people, and this is men, I'm talking about mainly here, obviously women sometimes as well. And I started, instead of trying to avoid confrontation, I actually decided to relish confrontation instead, to go headlong into confrontation. And I thought, probably what's going to happen is I'm just going to get beaten up. you know, because I'm going around, I'm dressing like an idiot, I'm being very confrontational and a bit of an arsehole, and yeah, people aren't going to buy that, you know, I'm just going to get killed, but so what, let's try it anyway. Because I knew that I had to try something different, because, you know, the definition of insanity is repeating the same action over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, I realized on some level that that's what I've been doing in my life. You know, I've been repeating the same stuff and the results were nothing very much. So I knew I had to change. So I started to behave in this different way. I started to dress differently, and I started, as I say, to become confrontational instead of avoiding confrontation. Okay, what happened? Well, a few things happened. Surprisingly, far from getting beaten up or attacked or whatever immediately, which is what I thought would happen, generally speaking, people went along with my new persona. And I think the reason for that is basically because other people as well are non-confrontational. Remember that thing in Fight Club where they send out the guys and they say you have to go and start a fight, and they find it really difficult to start a fight because most people are avoidant of that, you know, understandably. Well, it's the same, not talking about a physical fight, but it's the same in terms of being a bit spiky, a bit confrontational. You think that a lot of people are going to react harshly to that. Actually, they tend not to, because most other people are non-confrontational as well. So that was fine, and people actually found me quite sort of entertaining and quite interesting, and it actually made me more popular in a way because I had a personality, you know, whereas before I'd hidden my personality. So there was that. And the other thing that happened was that I started to get women interested in me, and I actually got my first girlfriend as a direct result of these behaviors, because before that, as James Tusk would say, I couldn't pull a muscle. And then as a direct result of basically having the balls to stand out a bit more, having the balls to be the hero in my own story, I got my first girlfriend. And she was a very attractive woman as well. Very attractive girl. We were together for about 6 months. And then, and I had no clue what I was doing. You know, I had no clue about relationships or male to female, how men and women interact or the dynamics of those things. So I completely messed it up, and we were together for about 6 months, and then we split up. She dumped me, and I was distraught about that. But then when I came out the other side of that breakup, things had fundamentally changed for me, because now, well, I'd lost my virginity for one thing, which is kind of important, you know, so I'd ticked off that. And also I'd seen that, well, if I could do this once, I could do this again. And so things had changed for me. And I resolved then that I would never again enter into the, you know, the kind of dry spell, the lack of abundance that I'd experienced all through my teenage years up until when I turned 20. And then I went into the whole journey of, you know, dating and getting into relationships and doing all these different things. But the thing that really triggered it all off, I'm going to go down here actually. The thing that triggered it all off was really that decision to become the hero come what may, okay? And it wasn't as if society was cheering me on. You know, it wasn't as if there was like, there were all these people around me going, yeah, Troy, come on, be the man, be the cocky mofo, yeah. Most people around me would have, because this is what happens generally, right? You're gonna get, other people around you are gonna try to push you down, okay? Because they don't want competition, or maybe if they care about you, they're worried about you, and they want you to fit into your little box. You know, we hear a lot about the Matrix at the moment. Well, the way to get out of the Matrix is to be your own man. All right, the way to escape the Matrix, because the Matrix really is in your own head. And the way to escape the Matrix, whatever the hell that means, is to be your own man, not to hero worship other people, and to present yourself to the world as your own man, come what may. And you have to be prepared for rejection. You have to be prepared that not everybody is going to buy into it, and not everybody is going to like you, and that's okay. All right, you have to be prepared for that. That's just part of it, right? But the more that you're willing to stand up and be counted, and as I say, this all comes back really to that mindset of how you view yourself. You've got to view yourself fundamentally as worthy of doing that. All right, now you might be flawed. I was incredibly flawed at that point by any objective measure. You know, I was skinny as hell. I didn't have any money. I wasn't model good looking. I was intelligent. I was very intelligent, but I didn't have any qualifications. I didn't have a career. I didn't have a cool place to live. I mean, there was nothing going in my favor in any sort of objective sense. But I knew my own potential, and I knew my own value. And I was confident in that potential. I was confident in that value. I knew what I was bringing to the party, even if it hadn't manifested itself externally yet. And so I just went out there and acted like a cocky mofo. And as I say, people by and large bought into it. Of course, I experienced resistance, because you'll always experience resistance, but you know, people bought into it. I got my first girlfriend, and my life changed as a result. So this stuff is really, really super important. And as I always say, there's going to be naysayers probably writing in the comments going, yeah, man, but you know, if you're not a 6'7" Chad, then it's over. And if you're not a multi-millionaire, then don't bother, and blah, blah, blah. And none of that stuff is true. And the reason I know that is because the results that I was getting, the actual results that I was getting in terms of dating, for example, changed pretty much overnight. And they didn't change because I'd suddenly got taller, or suddenly got better looking, or suddenly become really rich, or any of that stuff. All of those things had remained the same. My results in dating and getting that first girlfriend happened because I changed the way that I behaved, and I was able to change the way that I behaved because I always basically thought that I was pretty damn awesome compared to other people. I actually had a bit of a superiority complex, I probably still do. And I just stopped hiding it. You know, I just stopped hiding it. And the rest is history. So I hope that you get where I'm coming from with this stuff, because I do think this is really important, and this is kind of key really to what I teach. Because look, if I can do it, and I'm just some idiot with a camera, if I can do it, then you can absolutely do it as well, okay? And I can help you with that. That's what I do. So if you want to discuss where you are with dating or with this stuff, then you can drop me an email, troy@realtroyfrancis.com, and we can organize a call. Or you can just book a free call with me on the Calendly link below. If you want to read more about my wonderful experiences with all of this stuff, you can get my collection of 11 books, which is called Renegade Dating Blueprint. There's a link for that below also. And please, if you have a heart and you like what I do, then support the channel with Patreon. It's just $5 a month. And you get to ask me questions to these videos, and you'll get some behind the scenes stuff as well. So, with all that being said, hope you like the video. Hit subscribe, give me a comment below, and I will see you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.